It's my honor and privilege to welcome you to the last event of our Honor and Remembrance program. Our tribute banquet and our guest of honor, Major General Mike Myatt. Tonight would not be possible without the commitments and leadership of General Myatt, as I referred to earlier in the day. But partnering with Major General Myatt are a lot of folks. In 13 years, some of them have been on this journey. One of the groups is our beloved Blue Star Moms. This year officially is the Marines Memorial Gold Star Committee. Nancy Topman, please stand up. Judy Yaron, come on ladies, stand up. But I will tell you there's another group that has worked equally as hard. They were the brains of the outfit, but some have to do the heavy lifting. And I would suspect most of you have had a pleasurable a stay as you would have anywhere. And that's because there are a lot of folks who have worked hard within this organization. So I would like to ask Mr. Michael Allen, our general manager, please stand up, and all of the staff of the Marines Memorial Association for what they've done. This is a family affair for them. And I will tell you, one of the reasons we have an extremely low turnover rate is because we like to host guests such as you. So thank you very much. I'll now ask our chaplain, John Swanson, to provide the blessing.
Do you not know, have you not heard, the Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth? He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Gracious God, we thank you for the sanctity of life and the opportunities to make a difference each day. When confronted by adversity and overwhelming odds, you sustain us by your presence and grace. When we are tempted to despair, you console and lift us up so that we can face with confidence every obstacle and challenge. Life is not only precious, it is fragile. We do not know what the future holds, but we do know that you, O God, hold the future. Now be present at our table, Lord. Be here and everywhere adored. These mercies bless and grant that we may strengthened for thy service be. Amen.
You know, it's been attributed to General Patton that he said, "It's foolish and wrong to mourn the men who died. Rather, we should thank God that such men lived." Now, that was maybe appropriate back during the Second World War, but today I would modify that by saying, ladies and gentlemen, it's foolish and wrong to mourn the women and men who died. Rather, we should thank God that such women and men were born. I take this opportunity to toast every mother, father, and loved one who's lost someone. May God bless them. God bless each and every one of us. Thank you. Our guest of honor is well known to all of us. Not only is he a founding force in this amazing gathering, but he's been a distinguished Marine. He's a civic leader in this community, and I will tell you his contributions to the Marine Corps in this city in being a civic leader have really gone above and beyond. I mean, I remember this city when I was a kid living here. It's changed, but General Myatt has done great things to establish the reputation of the Marine Corps and the other services through his efforts with Fleet Week and other programs as well. He's a solid, wonderful leader. I've had the pleasure of serving with him many, many years ago. I was serving for him, and I learned a great deal, as I did when we turned over for this position.
I'm really grateful to Nancy Tolman and Julie Arney for what they've done to organize this event tonight. Please, I just thank you so much. Wendy and I are so glad to be with you tonight. I thought long and hard about my remarks because I can't identify with experiencing the same loss that you Gold Star parents experienced. I only know about Marines and sailors that were killed under my command. You have influenced me greatly in these 13 years that we've been doing this. I want to talk about my string of life and the knots in my string of life. Let me explain. I read a book a few years back titled Quartered Safe Out Here, a harrowing tale of World War II. The book is an autobiographical book work by George MacDonald Fraser, who at the age of 19 fought in the last year of World War II in Burma against the Japanese and chronicled the battles of the 9-man infantry squad that he was part of. You might not know his name, but he wrote this amazing historical fiction series of books about a mythical character called Flashman. So if you wanted to learn about the charge of the Light Brigade, you read Flashman at the Charge. A wonderful way to study military history. When Mr. Fraser wrote his book, Quartered Safe Out Here, he said that when thinking about one's memories over the years, the strangest trait of the human memory is that certain events become embedded in the mind matters of life and death. He goes on to say, life is like a piece of string with knots in it. The knots being those moments that live in the mind forever. And the intervals being hazy, half-recalled times when you have a fair idea of what happened in a general way, but cannot be sure of dates, places, or the exact order that they took place. Well, tonight, I would like to tell you about the knots in my string of life. Things that will haunt me and please me and joy me for the rest of my life. As a military officer who had young Americans serving and dying while carrying out my orders, I feel an obligation never to forget them. I hope you appreciate this fact. The impact on any leader in the military who tells somebody to do something, that somebody is then killed accomplishing your mission, you can never get over it. I know the name of the very first Marine killed under my command. I was a platoon commander in Vietnam. Staff Sergeant Virgilito was his name. A few years ago, Wendy and I traveled to D.C., Washington, D.C., where we visited the Vietnam Wall. We looked up Staff Sergeant Virgilito. His full name was John Anthony Virgilito. born 21 June 1932 in New York, Elmira, New York. I knew that he would want me to remember his full name and that he was from New York. But I couldn't forget that because he had such a Yankee accent. But I didn't remember that he was 8 years older than me. He was that experienced staff non-commissioned officer that was training this this young lieutenant to how to lead Marines in combat. I'll never forget it. Wendy will tell you that as I was looking at the wall and looking at his name, Staff Sergeant Bergolito, I began to read the names of the other Marines killed on the same operation under my command. I had to turn away. Forgive me. I swore to remember all I could about every Marine killed carrying out my orders. I was not able to keep that pledge. The list of Marines who died under my command grew too long, and I had to keep a diary of the Marines killed. In October 1985, when I was a Marine Expeditionary Unit commander aboard the USS Guadalcanal off the coast of Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. We were training to deploy for a 7th-month deployment to the Mediterranean, earmarked to loiter off Lebanon to be prepared to conduct raids in response to the Hezbollah's kidnapping of Americans in Lebanon. In the early morning hours of 16 October, it was pitch black. We were in the midst of bringing a Marine helicopter from one ship to the USS Guadalcanal. I was in the ship's captain's bridge with the ship captain, the amphibious squadron commander, and the helicopter squadron commander. I watched the helicopter trying to land in complete darkness. It took several attempts before the aircraft was aboard. Frankly, the landing scared me. We then loaded 15 Marines and 1 Navy chaplain in the helicopter with the intent of having it loiter airborne until we could load the rest of the helicopters and then launch the raid. When the helicopter lifted off, instead of climbing, the aircraft flew straight down in the ocean. We lost 18 Marines, including 3 of the 4 aircrew and the chaplain that morning. It took us over 14 hours to recover them. Reviewing my diary refreshed my memory. I read the chaplain's name, Lieutenant Robert Ledbetter. Why a chaplain was on the helicopter was a question. I learned later that Captain John Kelly, now General John Kelly, the Chief of Staff of the President, was supposed to be in that. But then at the last minute, they changed that, and the chaplain volunteered to go, and he went with them. First Lieutenant John Wesco was the pilot. He was killed. The co-pilot, Captain Kevin Spiller, was the only survivor of the crash. As I told you, I was on the ship's captain's bridge, along with the Fairbound commander and the helicopter squadron commander, all aviators, and I watched for them, waiting for them to react, but they didn't. My immediate instinct was to cancel the operation. Because the aircraft took so long to land on the deck of the ship. I didn't. I regretted it. It haunts me. But I swore then I would never let something like that happen, whether I was an experienced aviator or not, again. I have so many memories of Marines under my command. Some situations are too painful for me to share. If only I'd done this, if only I'd done that, whatever. That does not mean that I don't think about those Marines and remember them. And that situations that we have created knots in my string of life. You parents have provided me with many memories. In some cases, those memories have provided me knots in the string of my string of life. Early in the planning of this, in 2005, Deb Sonder and Nancy Tolman came to me and asked me to do something because they had a Blue Star mom that became a Gold Star mother. They were concerned. Gold Star mothers are so isolated, they said, and they are afraid that nobody will remember the sacrifices of their sons or daughters. You've got to do something. I talked with my general manager, Michael Allen, and we thought about the Gold Star Parents event. Then Michael thought about the tribute memorial wall, where we eventually would have some place for the names of all the youngsters in the military killed since 9/11. He told me, it would be a place where Gold Star parents would know that their son or daughters would never be forgotten. They would always be remembered. I should have recognized this. In all wars, after World War I, the Gold Star Mother chapter of San Francisco dedicated a memorial here in the Heroes Grove of Golden Gate Park. I didn't know this until recently. It's called the Gold Star Mother's Rock. They dedicated it in 1932. 761 names of San Franciscans killed in World War I are inscribed on that rock. And we're going to visit it in one of these next time you come here for the Gold Star Parents event. Yeah. I told you, you Gold Star parents have influenced me and all of us here at the Marines Memorial. Yolanda Vega, you created a year of Not My String of Life. You told me about this Air Force son of yours who volunteered for a mission to go on a patrol with Army and was killed on that patrol, and you were so proud of him. What a night you created. It was really something. Bill and Mary Shea. You created a knot for me by telling about your son. He was a ranger, and he was killed in a special operation in 2005 on the Iraq-Syrian border. And it's been a knot in my life. And also, your poetry has created a knot in my string. She writes poetry to deal with the grief. It's wonderful. Paul and Claire Good, where are they? You created a knot in my life. Tell me about Leisha. She was an Air Force crewwoman on a helicopter flying over the Indian Ocean, and it had an accident, and she was killed. And the way you tell that, and you're so proud of her, is not my string of life. It really is. I tell you, Diane Layfield. Where's Diane? You created a knot in my string of life, telling me about how your son died in the first Battle of Fallujah, your Marine, in 2004. And I'll guarantee you, you've also created a knot in Jim Mattis's string of life. I'll tell you that right now. To all of you Gold Star parents who have told me that you don't want anyone to forget your son or daughter was killed while serving in the service of our country, and that you are proud of them, you have created a knot in my string of life. It's worth mentioning that I am not the only one, and as General Yulee pointed out, the employees of this association have been impacted by your Gold Star parents. You realize that the waiters that have been waiting on our table tonight, it is their favorite event. Who would have thought that the meeting with Deb Saunders and Nancy Tolman 13 years ago, I thought it would just be, well, we do it for a couple of years. But now I'm convinced you've got to do this every year because it is important to all of us. I have something for each one of you Gold Star families. It's a gold star with a knot from my string of life in it. And we will hand those out as you leave here. Pick yours up. But I love you, General Myatt. I love you too. Thank you all so much. You know, now we're going to have the best part of the evening. Of course, we're going to bring the Marine Band out here. All right, Michael? Thank you very much.